Happy Halloween, everyone, and welcome to another devlog for the Kinship project. I know it's a little early. Definitely didn't expect to be making another one of these so quickly, but I've been working on some stuff and I wanted to show it off, and I'm just having too much fun not to talk about the project. So, over the last few days, I mentioned earlier that I would be working on some inventory stuff. I decided not to work on just the inventory, mostly because it was giving me some brain drain. So you'll notice there's some assets around some models and textures and stuff that I worked on in the meantime to zen and relax and enjoy the process of making some 3D models, some ships in the background, a shrine here, a little hut as well, just to fill out the space, give me something creative to do. To take a break from all of the arrays and arrays of arrays in the meantime, right? So beyond these placeholder assets, though, I have worked on a couple of other features. The first one, and the most obvious probably, is going to be that we have a chat system implemented. So that is why I have another client character here. They're going to help me showcase the chat system. So if I go over, I'm going to tab to my other client, and here we go. A nice message from the other player. We'll do another one. So that is working perfectly fine. I'll go ahead and respond to him. Hi there. And so you'll see that we do have chats, I guess, kind of text messagey looking, insofar as they are different colors for you and other players. We have timestamps and player names. These are placeholder integers. Just needed a random number for the names of these characters, but the chat system is nice and fully featured. So we also have a scroll bar as well. That'll cool down. Yeah, chat is implemented. Very satisfied with where that's living currently. There are some limitations of the current implementation, mostly just because the font that I'm using doesn't support a lot of non-standard alphanumeric characters. So as a result, these are pretty stringently sanitized chat messages just to ensure that they'll actually render properly with the font that I have currently being used for that chat box. So beyond the chat system, we have some changes to the inventory. So I'll go ahead and showcase that really quickly. As mentioned before, I'm going to open that with the context menu here, and I'll open my own inventory. Here at the bottom, you'll notice a new bar. This was already something implemented. I just figured I would add a UI element for it. This is the representation of the player's inventory weight. Now you'll notice it says 0 out of 100 for both. That is currently a small bug with pre-populated chests and inventory containers in general. Easy to fix. I already have that on my radar. But beyond that, when transferring items, of course, you will transfer the weight of the item to the chest or to the container. So in this case, of course, you'll notice that I have a maximum weight of 100. And now I have a 21 out of 100 from these items that I've moved into my inventory. I can, of course, put these back and it'll update properly. So inventory works perfectly fine. Stacking is still not in quite yet. Neither is splitting or merging stacks. Like I said, I wanted to work on some other stuff in the meantime, but that is on the radar for very soon. So in addition to this, however, we do have dropping items out of the inventory. So I can drop the sword and the shield here. I do need to work on some of the bounding box checks for dropping items, but here we are. And of course, I can still inspect these items and pick them up as well, which will add them to my inventory. Inventories are, of course, synced up between players, so this player over here will be able to see into this chest and any other environmental container that exists in the world. So real quick, let's show off another system that I've been working on, which is the chunk-based data system for maps. In no short terms, I guess. Very similar to if you've ever played Europa Universalis, or any of the Paradox games for the most part. Most of the map is generated from a set of images. Now, these images usually define things like climate, biome, region, ownership, etc., religion, and that's probably going to be incorporated to some extent into this project as well. Mostly because it's very, very easy and intuitive to work with and very iterative. So currently, the only thing that chunks really store is their region. As you probably noticed at the top of the screen, I'm now in the Frozen Isle region, and I used this little placeholder teleporter to do so. But really what the intention there is to extend that to be able to support things like ownership, for owning land in the game, region, climate, like I mentioned earlier, weather, anything that needs to be stored in a parcel of territory in the game, would of course probably use this chunk system in order to store that and to read the initial data for generating maps. So like I said, it is easy to iterate and add new maps and all that kind of stuff. The map itself is not procedurally generated. I don't intend to add procedural generation. That's kind of just not the kind of project that this is. But of course, all of the other stuff besides the actual terrain will definitely be read from those images and from that dictionary. So let's go back in our teleporter and get back home. So other than the chunk system, what else have I worked on? Well, some initial stuff for the boats. As you may have noticed, they are there, but they aren't usable yet. But I keep getting so tempted to work on them. But I'm trying not to. You'll also, I had a comment in my previous video, as well as other comments as well, regarding the mouse system. So in the first video, in the first devlog I made, the camera was, mouse mode was entered by clicking and holding the tab button. That would enter you into the mouse mode. And when you release tab, you would exit the mouse mode. That's how I prefer to play, but I wanted to extend the option based on that feedback to allow players to use a tab option as well. So, or a toggle tab option. So now instead, tab is a toggle, and when we're in mouse mode, of course, as you've been watching, we're still able to interact with the environment while walking and moving, and we can rotate our mouse by right-clicking outside of an object, right? So if we right-click on this, we will obviously open our context menu, but if we right-click, while not hovered over something, we'll be able to move our camera. So that is most of the work that I've been doing over this past few days. Figured I'd give everybody an update, address that feedback, and again, mention if you have any feedback, questions, comments, opinions, feel free to post them down below. I love hearing about people's ideas for these kind of games, and the more the merrier, right? So that's it for today's devlog. I will see you all in the next one.